questions here?
Sure.
All right. What do you know about the sex offender registry?
I don't know anything about the sex offender.
All right. Well, do you mind if I ask you a few more questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. What is your opinion on this? Maybe you've been watching the news. You've probably seen some on the news where all of a sudden a formerly convicted sex offender is getting out of prison and he's moving into a neighborhood, and all of a sudden his picture is on the news, and they're sticking his picture at the supermarket, and they're stapling it to poles and sort of things like that. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that that's infringing on any of his rights at all? He's served his time. He's out of prison. How do you feel about that?
I think that the neighborhood should be made aware, but maybe not to that capacity.
How would you do it?
Maybe have some sort of neighborhood meeting, letting them know the circumstances around the crime, and maybe even have the offender come in, meet with the people, talk to them, so maybe they can get their minds eased in some sort of way, and then.
If you were a sex offender, how would you feel about that, having to show up at a neighborhood meeting and talk about that?
Well, if I had the choice between meeting with the people or having my picture plastered everywhere, I think I would choose the meeting with the people.
You'd choose meeting with the people?
Wouldn't you?
I can't
I
really
think
say.
I would rather have only a small,
If you found out your neighbor was a sex offender, would you try to get him to move out?
It would depend. I would have to meet the person.
You have to meet the person? So
Yeah.
You're willing to give people another chance?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Good enough for me. I guess that's it from here. So here we are at the Union Information booth.
I'm being interviewed on camera.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'll call you later. Well, wait, I want to talk to you about what you just said, though. Okay.
This will only take a minute of your time.
Okay.
I promise. It'll be shown in my policy class, and that's it. It's just a real.
I look wonderful. I know. I haven't showered yet today. I know. I look fine. That's good enough. Okay.
That's all right. So, do you have any information here about the sex offender registry, since it's an information booth?
What? I've never even heard of it.
The sex offender
This
registry?
is the union information desk.
So
we
you
have
couldn't-
information that goes on in the union.
So we couldn't get any information here about the sex offender registry then? Do you know anything about the sex offender registry?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it? Take a guess to what it is.
Sex offender registry?
Sex offender registry in Wisconsin.
I've heard about it on the news. Take a guess to what it is.
Yeah.
It has something to do with sex offenders?
Yeah, they go on a registry after they've been convicted of a sexual offense with a felony.
Oh, I know. Isn't it something like where they have to go and talk to people about it?
Well, not exactly something like that. Let's, for example, you said you've seen it on the news. Let's talk about that. How do you feel about that? These guys have served their time, right? They've done their 15 years in jail, and when they get out, they're going to move into the community. Do you think people should be alerted to that by putting their pictures everywhere on the news? How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Depends on how big their offense was, I guess.
So it would depend. If you found out your neighbor was a sex offender, would you try to make him move out? Would you?
Well, everybody has rights. I mean, I wouldn't try to make him move out, I guess.
If you had kids, though, let's say he was a child molester,
Well, that's different.
and you found out that, would you try
totally
and get him to move out? Would you tell your other neighbors? What would you do?
Yeah, but what is that going to do if he owns the house? That he can't get evicted from his own house if he owns it? Can he? He can't. I mean, yeah, you can warn people all you want, but they'll make people aware of the situation, and that's good, but...
How long do you think after you get out of jail you should have to be on the registry? What do you think the time limit is when you get out of jail?
What's the registry? What is the purpose of them being on it?
What the purpose of the registry is?
Yeah.
So people that were victims so they know where the perpetrator is of the crime?
Okay, so that's what the registry does.
That's one of the main purposes. Is for the victim. That's what it's supposed to be.
How long should they be on it?
Yeah, how long do you think after they're out of jail they should have to register? For how many years?
I don't know.
It's 15.
Maybe for the rest of
It's
their
15
life.
years. For 15 years. Do you think that's too long, or do you think that's not enough time?
No, I don't think that's too long.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. You know what an absconder is? No? Well, let's see if I have any other questions for you here. Do you think there should be any other kinds of registries? Since you have a sex offender registry, what other kind of crimes do you think there should be a registry for? So that you could be alerted. Would you like to find out if your neighbor was a murderer or something like that? How many more registries should there be?
glad this is going to be shown in your class. I don't know. It depends. I guess. I mean, it depends on how big the crime is, and like murders, maybe.
Okay. What kind of information do you have here?
Union information.
Union
just
information?
like it says right up there.
Oh, what kind of information? We had to pick